Alright guys, what is going on? Welcome to another video. Today's video is going to be the second video in a series of videos that I'm bringing out called The Truth About Certain Topics. Now today's topic is about bulking. We're talking about building muscle, we're talking about building mass, getting heavier, and bulking up. And one of the first things I want to talk about is the difference between a lean bulk, not a clean bulk, well, could be clean / lean bulk, and a dirty bulk. Alright, so basically they're both very effective. I've tried to use both, I've utilized both, and one thing I do want to say before I do get into anything is all these advices are mine and mine only. Take from this video what you will. If you do like the video, please give it a thumbs up, it helps out a hell of a lot. If you want to see some more videos, subscribe by all means, but regardless of that, this video is going to be about bulking. I want to share some insight, some truths about bulking as the title suggests. So let's get into that.
This is exclusive. Go! Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up. All the way up. I'm all the way up.
Now, a lean bulk versus a dirty bulk. Each person's body can sort of be categorized into one of three categories. You've got an ectomorph who is naturally very lean, probably can eat a shitload and not put on any weight. But as well as that, when they do try to put on weight, and especially muscle mass, it's fucking hard. And they need a lot of calories. On the other end of the scale, you've got an endomorph. Okay, I would say personally, I'm probably more of an endomorph. Endomorph being sort of heavy set from childhood usually. When they try and put on muscle, it's done very quite easily and rapidly. But when they try and lose the body fat and try and cut down, that can be very, very challenging. So with that being said, as you can imagine, when they are bulking, you probably would want to do it more so a lean bulk and really watch what you're eating so you don't put on too much body fat, so then when it does come time to lose it, there's not a huge amount to lose. So that is an ectomorph at the bottom, an endomorph at the top. In the middle you've got mesomorphs. If you're a mesomorph, well, you're basically a mixture of the two and you're a lucky cunt, I'm not going to lie. Building muscle comes relatively easily, especially in the first few years if your nutrition is on point. When you want to go to try and lose body fat, you're going to be able to do it relatively effectively on a relatively high amount of calories. And yeah, I mean, that's basically a mixture of the two. So you got the ectomorph, mesomorph, endomorph. Which one you fall into, I'm sure you guys probably know. Ectomorph, if you're a hard gainer, they like to call you guys hard gainers, okay? You're going to need to dirty bulk, all right? The fact is, if you struggle to put on weight and you want to put on muscle and quality muscle, if you try and make up your diet of all clean foods, so we're talking, no sauces, no fats, just rice, chicken, broccoli, sweet potato, steak, and asparagus. If you try and stick to those meals over and over again, not only are you going to struggle to get the actual volume in, but the amount of calories at the end of the day is not going to be hugely high, and that's what you get with clean food. So, in that case, you probably want to start resorting to a dirty sort of a bulk. Yeah, maybe half of your food throughout the day might be from clean sources. To get that total amount of calories at the end of the day that you're going to need, you're just going to need it to put on weight. I mean, most probably are going to have to start eating at least a little bit dirty, maybe a couple of takeaway meals per day, or adding fats to meals, adding a lot of oil to your meats when you cook them. You don't want to be adding in shitty calories, all right, like really shitty ones. You don't want to be eating lollies or drinking soft drink or anything like that. The dirty foods that you're going to be including are still going to be wholesome. They're still going to be food, but most likely the fat content is going to go way up, and that is what raises the calories predominantly. So overall, guys, bulking up is fun. It's fucking fun. You can really experiment with your training. You're feeling strong. You're getting stronger in the gym. You can experiment with your diet. Like I said, even though I am a sort of an endomorph, I do still dirty bulk, and that's the way I like to do it. I like to have fun with my food. I like to eat food that I like, especially after dieting. If you're transitioning from a dieting phase into another bulking phase, fuck continuing eating that dieting food, man. Like, screw that. I'm going to be eating some nice stuff from the bakery, You know, I'm going to want my meats to be higher in fat. I'm not going to go for a lean chicken breast over a steak now, you know what I mean? So things like that change, and in the first few weeks results can be really rapid, especially after coming from a caloric deficit. So there's definitely a rebound period when that happens, and basically what I'd say a rebound period is basically your body is so used to being in a caloric deficit and losing weight. In those first 4 to 6 weeks after going into a bulk, you can probably get away with eating a bit more because your body just basically is soaking all the shit up. Like, it's soaking up the nutrients. It's really, the glycogen stores are getting full again, and you're most probably training your heart out in the gym. So any food that's coming in is just going to be going to straight gains. Like, unless you're a real endomorph, in which case you're still going to have to watch what you eat. But personally, at least for that 4 to 6 week period after being in a caloric deficit, I have found that the rebound period is amazing. If you're lean enough, you can still put on 5 kgs in the first 6 weeks and still look lean. It definitely depends what point you've got yourself to, or how lean you've got yourself before you start the bulk. But I think anyone can definitely greatly benefit from a rebound period, which is a lot of fun. The pumps are intense, you can eat a lot, the weight is climbing up consistently on the scales, and you're just seeing yourself fucking explode in the gym. Like, it's awesome. It's as steroid-like as you can get without taking steroids. And that's another thing I want to put across, is that whether I'm bulking or cutting, I have never taken any performance enhancing drugs. I've never taken a fat burner, no steroids, no clenbuterol, nothing. Whether I've bulked or cut, any results I have ever achieved have been from diet and training, and that's it. That's all you need. Simple. So once you get through that rebound phase, you've basically, your glycogen stores are full, you've regained all the muscle that you may have lost during the cut. Muscle memory comes into play. Once you pass that point, mentally it can be a real head fuck to try and stay motivated to bulk, especially if you have pushed it maybe a little bit too far too soon, and you see yourself getting a little bit softer around the midsection, and you're like, fuck man, like, obviously when you're cutting, the only thing you look at is your midsection. You see it getting more sliced, and then when you start bulking, you're still looking at your midsection. You're not actually looking at your arms and your shoulders and your back and chest, the places that are really growing. You're just looking at your stomach still. So to see the abs start fading, basically you've just got to trust the process. Just like with cutting, with bulking is the same thing. You've got to have a plan at the start. You've got to trust the process, and it really is a mental game. It starts to come down to what's up here, and that transitions into your daily habits and then what muscle you can build. Once you've been in caloric surplus for 3 months, it's really going to come down to your determination and what you want to achieve. Have you built enough muscle in 3 months to then cut down again and make some good gains? Probably not, especially not naturally. Like, I'm not even going to lie, food becomes a chore. Like, it's crazy how fast how fast my mental space can change. When I'm cutting, food is everything. Like, I'm halfway through my meal, I'm already thinking about my next meal just because I'm so hungry all the time. As soon as you get into a bulk, it's literally like everything changes. 4 weeks in, 6 weeks in, like I keep saying, you've had all the foods that you've been craving, and basically now it's like, right, okay, well, I don't even feel like eating. If you've ate 4,000 calories a day for 6 weeks straight, you wake up in the morning, you dread food, you really do. It's like your mindset completely changes. It's fucked. Once you've stepped foot in the gym, once you start trying to improve your body, once you start being a bodybuilder, that's the last time you'll ever look at food the same. I'm telling you, it's either obsessive because you're cutting, or it's a chore because you're bulking, and that's just the way it is. So with that being said, some tips to help with that is a mass gainer shake, whether that be a powdered form. Most mass gainers are actually, like, the carbohydrates are actually derived from good sources these days, but definitely still look at the ingredient panel, because a lot of the mass gainer powders back in the day was just literally just sugar and whey protein, and that is shocking for muscle growth. I mean, sugar is it's definitely essential at certain times, probably around training, but if you're like just about to go to bed or something and you want a mass gainer shake and you're filling yourself up with a bunch of sugar, it's definitely not optimal. So personally, I have used mass gainer shakes. I used to have one every single morning, at least 1,000 calories, and that basically got me off to a good start. I could get it down. I didn't have to worry about eating anything. But the mass gainer shakes that I used was made up of whole foods, all right? So we're talking, I'd put in 2 bananas, I'd put in a cup of oats, I'd put in fucking berries, I'd put 2 scoops of protein powder in there, I'd put peanut butter in there, I'd put egg whites in there, I'd put milk in there. Like, that is a real mass gainer shake, and it tastes delicious. It just costs a bit more. So obviously, depending on your budget, that's going to determine, what you get. Food, on the other hand, dirty bulking food choices. I would eat a foot-long sub with, double cheese, adding those extra calories, double meat, double cheese. I wouldn't be going for low-fat options like chicken teriyaki. I'd be going for more so, chicken schnitzel, bacon and cheese, rather than lean as chicken teriyaki. It tastes better, it's more filling. I like to eat less often but have more calories per meal. That's how I like to do it. If I knew I had to eat 6, 7, 8, 9 times per day, fuck that. That's all I gotta say. So if I know I need 4,000 calories, well, I'll eat 4 times a day and have 1,000 calories per meal. That's how I do it. The other option, guys, is if you really do find yourself, spilling over too far too soon, really putting on that fat again, and you want to just swiftly stop it in its tracks, reset yourself back to where you were, and then try again. There is such a thing called a mini cut, and it's basically just cutting weight, but it's doing it very drastically and in a short period of time. So the risk of losing muscle mass that you may have gained is minimized, and you can really get yourself back to a good starting point as soon as possible. Forget about what's happened in the past, because you probably have made fuck all gains from it, and try again. And honestly, you might waste 2 or 3 months of your lifting life, but to be within a healthy body fat range when you are bulking is going to really put yourself in a great position moving forward. If you start getting over 20% body fat and you're still trying to bulk, you're just going to really start feeling fat, man, and you're going to start looking fat, and pumps in the gym, are not going to be as pronounced. You're not going to be feeling as good. It's just the way it is. So keep your bulk in check. If you can't do a mini cut, personally, if we're talking about numbers here, I might be bulking on 4,000 calories. I may have pushed that too far. It might be 4, 5 or 5,000 for a few weeks. I'll see myself really spilling over in the midsection. And I'll say to myself, right, I'm going to really cut it back. I'm going to make sure I get enough protein in my diet, enough fat in my diet, but I'm going to pretty much completely take the carbs out, drop it right down to like 2,000 calories, be in a deficit of, probably at least 1,500 to 2,000 per day, and hit that for 3 or 4 weeks, and you'll shred up real fast. Like, any of that excess water weight will be gone, and you'll really be able to then see once again where you're at, have a good starting point, and then you're off on that bulk once again. Another thing I'm going to touch on is intermittent fasting. Some people out there will hear intermittent fasting and bulking in the same sentence and run a mile, or freaking completely ridicule what I'm saying. But I use intermittent fasting during cutting, I use it during bulking. I think that anyone who is thinking that if you fast for 14 or 16 hours without taking any meals in, or any whole food sources of protein, if someone believes that you're going to lose muscle, especially when you're in the middle of a bulk, glycogen stores are always full. A little fast here and there is not going to change anything, and if anything, it's actually more healthy for your digestive tract and for your gut, because when you're bulking, you're smashing the food over and over again every single day. How do you think your body's going to be coping with that? Not that well, right? So giving it a break. You don't have to fast every single morning, but at least once or twice a week, or maybe one day of a 24-hour fast, even in a bulk. Like, there really is no fucking worry about losing muscle. I think it's a great tool to use. I think if you want to bulk, you want to continue bulking, but you hate eating in the morning, fast. Fuck it. Have some aminos, have something to drink. I've trained fasted a lot of times. I used to think that I could never train fasted, but I'll tell you what, if you eat up until 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night, get up in the morning and go to the gym, the pump's still going to be there. The one thing you need to make sure of is that you hydrate yourself. You don't need to necessarily eat before you train, but you definitely need to hydrate yourself, and that is, that's fundamental to life, hydration. Alright, so those are some just general observations, some opinions of mine. I really hope you've enjoyed the video. The last thing I want to talk about is macronutrients and macro numbers for bulking. These are numbers that I've experimented with. I've done so many bulking and cutting cycles. I've had my macros here, and everywhere. But there are some fundamental numbers that I always come back to. If people ask me for advice, these are the ones I give for macronutrients. Now, I'll always say there's 3 macros: protein, carbs, and fats. There's only 2 of those that are actually essential, and that is protein and fat. Okay, protein is essential for obviously muscle maintenance, recovery. You've got fats, which are essential for your hormonal function, essential for your mood, for your well-being. It's essential for lubrication. I like to say, see fat as oil. It is oil, basically, in other forms. So see it as oil for lubricating your joints. You need fat in your diet. Some people will give a bulking diet of very, very high protein and high carbohydrate, but extremely low fat in an attempt to stay lean whilst bulking. I think you need a good amount of fat in your diet. And so if we're talking about numbers, these numbers I'm going to give you are, for a 200-pound man at 15% body fat, so that we're talking 170 pounds of lean mass. Now these numbers go off lean mass, not off fucking fat mass or total mass. These are lean body mass numbers, alright? So protein, I believe that you will benefit from a slightly higher amount of protein when you're bulking. Obviously, overall, you're going to have more calories to play with. I think adding in a bit more protein is not going to hurt, although, if you think it's too much, peg it back a little and assess your results. But I think 1 gram to 1.5 grams per pound of lean body mass is perfect for bulking, which means at 170 pounds, you've got either from 170 to 200 and... Fuck, this is going to test me. 65? No, 55. 170 to 255 grams of protein. Now that gives you, a lot of leeway. If you're a bigger guy, personally, I am, around about high 90s to 100 kg. I'm 185 centimeters tall. That's 6'1", and I'm going to need up around the 250 grams of protein for to supplement my diet. I don't have steroids to rely on, guys. So it's all diet, and I believe, yes, 250 grams of protein may sound high, but I think it's necessary. I really do. As far as fat goes, that's slightly higher than what I'd recommend with a cut as well. Usually at 0.3 to 0.5. I believe 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, even 0.7 of a gram per pound of body weight. Once again, 200-pound guy, 15% body fat, 170 pounds. Let's just say 0.5 to 0.7 is going to be 0.5 is going to be 85 to... Oh god, it's too early for this. 85.
Next minute.
Alright, so that took me about 5 minutes, but which it really shouldn't. But it's going to be from 85 to 102 grams of fat. And obviously the rest of the calories is made up of carbohydrates. Now, the carbohydrates I like to recommend are low sugar carbohydrates, low GI. These are carbohydrates that once you ingest them, they're going to be released slowly into the bloodstream. It's not going to really spike your blood sugar. It's long-lasting energy, and it's just good for you. It's wholesome. It's got fiber. All right, that is one thing that I like to rate my carbohydrates on, is the amount of fiber per 100 grams that I've got. If you're taking carbs from good sources such as oats, wheat bix, chickpeas, lentils, vegetables, fruit, the fiber is going to be high, and that makes a good carbohydrate for me, as well as having low sugar. Fruit is obviously high in sugar, but the benefits that you get from eating fruit from the micronutrients such as vitamins, minerals and fiber are going to far outweigh that sugar that you're taking in. And with that said, you can actually take in sugary foods at certain times to benefit before and after you train. That's when you want the blood sugar to be spiked, to create that high insulin response, especially post-training. So that's a whole nother That's a whole nother video. That's a bit of science that I'm definitely not going to delve into in this video. But basically, fundamentally, carbohydrates are used as fuel for the body. You want carbohydrates on tap when you need them, which is when you train. And also, I'd say when you do cardio, although I do fasted cardio when I bulk, which is probably not ideal, but fuck it, at least I'm doing cardio. So protein, see it as muscle recovery. Fat, see it as hormonal function and lubrication. Carbohydrates, see it as your primary source of fuel. And being your primary source of fuel, you want good sources of carbohydrates, ones that sit well in your stomach. Not every source of carbohydrate is going to suit everybody. Some people eat oats in the morning and their stomach sticks out fucking 30 centimeters. It's going to be up to you. Experiment. Bulking is fun, man. You can experiment with a hell of a lot of different foods. And that's what I like to do. Now, one thing I want to leave you with is some thoughts of mine. These are from me to you, my opinions, my advices. Don't do what I did and waste years of bulking, cutting, bulking, cutting, bulking, cutting. I literally spent like 2 to 2.5 years bulking for 6 weeks, thinking I was too fat, cutting for 6 weeks, thinking I was too small, bulking for 3 months, thinking I was too fat, cutting for 6 months really slowly, thinking, you know, oh, it's a real head fuck. So pick one and roll with it. Pick bulking and fucking roll with it, man. Reap some rewards, gain some muscle. All right, it really is a bit of a vicious cycle, guys. These guys that you see at the gym, you know, day after day, week after week, literally year after year, and they still look the same. They're most probably doing that, man. Humming and hawing too much, bulking 1 week, cutting 1 week. They may not even, you know about macronutrients, and they may need to listen to this video before they fucking keep doing that forever, spin their wheels forever. It's not good. You're putting in all this effort into the gym, you know, you might even be obsessed with it, yet your body is still not changing. And all it takes is to type into YouTube the truth about bulking, and then you'll know what's up. Right, I swear I'm leaving now, okay? But there is one final thing I want to say, and I like to finish these videos with a little quote or a little passage, something that I firmly believe in and something I want to instill in you guys, and that is a famous quote from the infamous philosopher Socrates. And that is, guys, that no man should ever grow old without first seeing exactly what his body is capable of physically. Because a man is meant to be a man, alright? We really are. Even if you're a soft guy, fuck, who cares, man? A man is meant to be a man, and that is definitely the fundamentals behind why I started all this. And that was because I want to feel and look powerful. I want to feel like a man. I want to feel confident inside, and putting on this muscle mass over these years has definitely done that. It's not a cocky thing. It's not vanity. It definitely isn't. Do you really reckon I'm vain? You know, giving you guys all this advice, man? I'm a fucking softie inside. I really am. But I tell you what, you know, going through this journey of mine, this fitness journey, putting on this muscle, seeing what my body was capable of physically has, you know, improved my life so much, and I want it to improve your guys' life as well. So that was the video for today. The truth about bulking plus whatever else you got out of it, because it's been going for well over 20 minutes. I hope you enjoyed. Until next time, guys, if you like the video, please give it a like. That helps a shitload. And if you want to see more of these videos, subscribe. If not, check out some of my videos, or I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Nothing can stop me, I'm all the way up.